Well, the rain has come back, and so have the wallabies. G'day folks, welcome back to the channel. Well, the sunshine that we had was very short-lived, and we are back to rain. And Ian did luckily manage to get out and foliar spray before the rain came back, and we also planted out a heap of seedling jackfruit trees ready for grafting. But Ian noticed that some of those were getting chewed, the leaves completely off, and way too much for it to be grasshoppers. So he came out last night with the spotlight, and we had a paddock full of wallabies. I say wallabies, they're not technically what we know to be as wallabies. They're sort of smaller marsupials than wallabies. We call them paddy melons. We've spoken about them before. And because they're small, they somehow manage to get through gaps in the fencing. So even though we've got electric fencing all the way around the paddock, Ian noticed when he came out last night that they were coming in and out through the corners, because the gaps in the corners are quite, well, big enough for a paddy melon to fit through anyway. So, job for today is reinforcing the fencing. Fun times. Okay, so we think that this is where the problem is. I'm not sure how well it's going to show it, but basically when we put the electric fencing in, as you can see, the fencing is off. These are the isolators on the post there, and when we decided to reinforce the fencing and add more runs of wire, which are these ones, they are sitting behind because of the isolator. And so when you get down here to the bottom, you can see that there's quite a big gap. This wire is sitting back. This was part of the reinforcement that we did. And then down here is the electric wire on the isolator. And so Ian noticed that the paddy melons were coming through this gap here. So here is what our little wallaby / paddy melon friends have been doing. This is one of the seedling trees that we planted out only a couple of days ago. And as you can see, they are having quite the little feast. Some of the seedlings have been affected more than others. Some have been completely decimated and all of their leaves have been stripped. The cages do help a little bit because they can't get to any of the leaves that are inside the cage. It's mostly the ones that are coming out the top. But because we planted larger seedlings, a lot of them are coming out of the top of the cages, and so they've had quite a lot of treats. And what happens when they eat all the leaves, obviously, is that there's no photosynthesis happening for these little trees, and it really stunts their growth and sets them back. Sometimes they even die. But they definitely get set back and have to reshoot, and then it delays our grafting. So it's a problem that we really need to fix. So we're down at the other corner now where Ian noticed them getting in and out, and this is the plan to hopefully combat this problem. Because as you can see, when we're not talking about the corners and it's the straight runs of fencing, which we have reinforced, the wires are all very close together. And so that is not where they are getting in and out It's where we've taken them to the corners, and we've got the corner post which is distorting the wires. So what we've done is we've knocked a couple more star pickets in right behind the fencing star picket, and we've just run chicken mesh. We're about to secure it now, so the chicken mesh will run from the one star picket all the way around the corner to the other star picket, and hopefully we've done it close enough that they can't get through any gaps. All finished. So we didn't quite have enough chicken mesh to reach post to post, but the wires are quite close together near the post anyway. It's only as you go towards the corner that they start to widen out.
See what happens tonight.
Yeah, we'll see what happens tonight. Come down and see how many wallabies we have roaming around. Hopefully 0. So it is 8:30 at night and we're watching the rugby. It's half time, and so we thought that we would come out and see if we can find any wallabies. So we've been going out of an evening just on dusk, and then again at about 8 to 8:30, and the wallabies are still getting in. I have to say, not as many. The fencing definitely has helped, because before we put the fencing in, I would come home from a late shift and there'd be so many wallabies in the paddock. So the fencing has definitely reduced them, but it hasn't stopped them. So we've been out wandering around in the dark for the last 3 nights, and each time we've seen 2 wallabies. It seems that they're always coming from the same side of the paddock. So that's the area that we focused on trying to reinforce. Obviously, reinforcing the corners didn't completely exclude them. We did watch one duck underneath the bottom fencing wire. So we went around and knocked the star pickets in so that the bottom fencing wire is actually closer to the ground than it was. But last night they still got in, because we found some more plants that have been chewed. So I don't know what else we can do, really. We've definitely reduced their numbers, but we haven't stopped them, and our plants are still getting chewed, the ones that have come out of the nursery. So I don't know whether we have to make bigger cages for them or some netting. I'm not sure. It's very frustrating. Just up at the back of the shed and the garden bed that we use to grow ginger, we noticed that the stalks and the leaves have all gone brown. So ready for harvest. Yeah, all died back. And so Ian is digging over the bed, and there is a never-ending supply of ginger in there.
There's ginger everywhere.
This garden bed's probably about 1.5 meters by 0.5 meters. We only use it for ginger, and when the leaves die back, we harvest it. I usually gift some away and freeze the rest, and then we let some start to sprout so that we can replant. And this is a massive haul of ginger. Check that out. That is heaps of ginger. So I'm really pleased with that. And I'm making a pork stir fry for dinner. So we will put
Ginger.
some of our fresh ginger into that stir fry, along with some of our homegrown chilies and lemons, beans, and loofahs, pretend zucchinis. And that should be delicious. And then with the rest of the ginger, I'll probably gift some away and freeze some, and maybe, I don't know,
We've got a lot of ginger.
ginger cakes, ginger biscuits,
Ginger beer.
ginger beer, and it is a lot of ginger. But like I say, I do freeze some, so it freezes quite well, especially when you're just putting it in recipes. But yeah, I'm pretty pleased with that.